Stereotyping is the application of an individual's own thoughts, beliefs, attributes, behaviors, expectations, and traits onto other individuals or members of certain groups, without first obtaining factual knowledge about said individual. Stereotyping stems from your belief of an individual. Your attitude towards that group is based off of your belief of that individual group. Your attitude compared to your beliefs is most crucial, most lasting, and most resistant for change.
What are familiar stereotypes? Racial stereotypes are preconceived ideas about a group of people that are believed to be true from experiences or assumptions. Some common stereotypes that Black women and men deal with are common assumptions that all Black people love fried chicken and that all Black women are rude. Another common stereotype is the fact that all Black people are always good at sports. In an essay written for Sports Illustrated, Gates, an authority on African American literature and culture, stated to his friends that there are approximately 35 million Black people in the United States. His friends threw out outrageous numbers like 50,000, 500,000, and even 10 million Black people are actually in sports. Gates reported that there were 12,000 Black professional athletes in all U.S. sports, 12 times more Black lawyers than Black athletes, 20 times more Black dentists than Black athletes, and 15 times more Black doctors than Black athletes. Meanwhile, another sports writer, John Entine, calculated that the odds of a Black teenager in America becoming a professional athlete are 4,000 to 1.
Gender stereotyping happens to us and is used by us so frequently that we hardly even realize it. Gender stereotyping is often used as a diss or to explain someone's behavior or attitude. When we use gender stereotyping, it is often a negative connotation associated with a group. I'm sure you've all heard someone say, that girl must be a lesbian because she's dressed like a boy or because her head's shaved, or women are awful drivers, or women are meant to be housewives.
Religious stereotypes are preconceived assumptions associated with an individual due to their religious preference. For example, Muslim women are viewed by the West as being oppressed, subservient, and silent. Muslim women wear a headscarf not because they are a victim of abuse imposed by their husband or father, but because they choose to wear it for their religion. We must make it clear that not all Muslims are terrorists, not all Christians are hypocritical, and not all Buddhists are happy.
Cultural stereotypes are a system of beliefs about typical characteristics of members of a given ethnic group or nationality, their status, society, or cultural norms. National stereotypes may be either about their own ethnicity, nationality, or about others. Stereotypes about their own nation may aid in maintaining a national identity. Common cultural stereotypes may be that all New Yorkers are rude, all Parisians are romantic, all Canadians live in igloos, all Irish are drunks, and all of the English have bad teeth.
Some advantages of stereotyping is that it enables us to respond rapidly to situations because we may have had a similar experience before. And some disadvantages is that it makes us ignore differences between individuals and their specific individualities. Therefore, we think things about people that might not be true.
People can use stereotypes to their advantage. Examples of this is befriending an Asian in math class to do well, or emphasizing the need for a Black person on the track team in order to win the race. Stereotyping becomes a danger because it leads to biased behavior and inaccurate judgment, whether it be unknowingly or deliberately done to a group. Stereotyping implements fear onto a person or situation where fear should not be, leading to a generalized emotion towards a group. For example, a girl's walking down the street and sees a Black man, so she holds onto her purse tighter and starts walking faster. Her conditioned response is to grab onto her purse in fear of being robbed.
On April 20th, 1999, 18-year-old Eric Harris and 17-year-old Dylan Klebold went on a shooting spree at Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado, killing 13 people and wounding more than 20 others before turning their guns on themselves. The boys had been bullied and were captivated by goth culture.
But who was to blame? All the experts had an answer.
Angry, heavy metal subculture. Where were the parents?
Violent movies,
South Park,
video games,
television, entertainment, Satan,
Cartoons, Doom,
society,
toy guns, drugs,
shock rocker, Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson.
Marilyn Manson has canceled the last 5 dates of his U.S. tour out of respect for those lost in Littleton. But the singer says artists like himself are not the ones to blame.
This is perhaps the sickest group ever promoted by a mainstream record company.
After Columbine, it seemed that the entire focus on why the shootings occurred was because the killers listened to Marilyn Manson. 2 years after Columbine, Manson finally returned to Denver.
The Ozfest at Mile High Stadium brings shock rocker Marilyn Manson to Denver tomorrow.
There were protests from the religious right. But I thought I'd go and talk with him myself.
When I was a kid growing up, music was the escape. That's the only thing that had no judgments. You know, you can put on a record and it's not going to yell at you for dressing the way you do. It's going to make you feel better about it.
Some will be so brash to ask if we believe that all who hear Manson tomorrow night will go out and commit violent acts. The answer is no. But does everybody who watches a Lexus ad go and buy a Lexus? No, but a few do.
I definitely can see why they would pick me, because I think it's easy to throw my face on a TV, because I'm, in the end, sort of a poster boy for fear. Because I represent what everyone's afraid of, because I do and say what I want.
If Marilyn Manson can walk into our town and promote hate, violence, suicide, death, drug use, and Columbine-like behavior, I can say, not without a fight you can't.
The two byproducts of that whole tragedy were violence and entertainment and gun control. And how perfect that was the two things that we were going to talk about with the upcoming election. And also then we forgot about Monica Lewinsky, and we forgot about the president was shooting bombs overseas, yet I'm a bad guy because I've sang some rock and roll songs. And who's a bigger influence, the president or Marilyn Manson?
Do you know,
I'd like to think me, but I'm going to go with the president.
Do you know that the day that Columbine happened, the United States dropped more bombs on Kosovo than any other time during that war?
I do know that, and I think that that's really ironic, you know, that nobody said, well, maybe the president had an influence on this violent behavior. No, because that's not the way the media wants to take it and spin and turn it into fear, because then you're watching television, you're watching the news, you're being pumped full of fear. There's floods, there's AIDS, there's murder, cut to commercial. Buy the Acura, buy the Colgate. If you have bad breath, they're not going to talk to you. If you got pimples, the girl's not going to fuck you. And it's just this, it's a campaign of fear and consumption. And that's what I think that it's all based on, is the whole idea that keep everyone afraid and they'll consume. And that's really as simple as it can be boiled down to.
Right. If you were to talk directly to the kids at Columbine or the people in that community, what would you say to them if they were here right now?
I wouldn't say a single word to them. I would listen to what they have to say, and that's what no one did.
After the Columbine shooting in Littleton, Colorado, the goth lifestyle or culture was scrutinized. They were labeled as Satan worshippers, violent individuals, and also known to demonstrate suicidal behavior. This stereotype has crossed over generations, thus becoming a target for younger children who used to express themselves wearing dark clothing, dark makeup, and listening to aggressive music. After the tragedy at Columbine High School, Marilyn Manson canceled his tour out of the respect for the lives lost. He later then returned to Littleton, Colorado 2 years later, where he was not welcomed as a musician by protesters. Marilyn Manson fell victimized to being labeled as the blame for another 35 deaths following the mass shooting at Columbine High School. Marilyn Manson's controversial music, image, and stage productions have made him a target for the scapegoating American society. Education and understanding are more adept ways of dealing with problems rather than mere blame. Instead of a nation placing the blame on a single contributing factor, they need to see the larger picture. The access and the right to bear a firearm need to be the truth that the U.S. nation needs to come to terms with. Stricter gun laws should be more headlines, and the easy accessibility to firearms needs to be what the media viewers need to hear, not the music made me do it.